Well, if you believe that your thoughts and feelings produce an effect in your life, and you're living in the lack every single day waiting for it to happen, you're separate from the experience, right? So if you think about the emotional signature of gratitude, I'm your host, Dr. Joe Dispenza. Let's begin. You'd have to step out of the classical physics of the Newtonian world, where we live in this realm of three-dimensional reality that we experience with our senses, and everything has height and depth and width, and we narrow our focus on the material world and we navigate in this way. And this realm has an infinite amount of space. Space is eternal. And we experience time as we move through space. So we move from one point of awareness, I'm here, the door's over there, that's another point of awareness. And as I move my body from one point of consciousness to another point of consciousness, as I move through space, I experience time. So if we're going to create matter to matter, three-dimensional reality, and we're going to get things done, it's just going to take time for us to get the new house, the new car, because we got to work and save our money and do all that stuff. Well, that's playing by the rules of Newtonian physics and three-dimensional reality. When you play by the rules of the quantum, in the quantum, there's an infinite amount of time. Now, time is eternal. Now, imagine if you had an infinite amount of time, how many things could you get done? Infinite number of things equal to your thoughts, right? And that's the quantum. So the quantum is time is eternal, and there's all possibilities exist in the present moment in the quantum. So in three-dimensional reality, Newtonian physics, it's about the predictable. The quantum is immaterial. Nothing's local yet in space and time. All possibilities exist as frequency, as energy, as vibration, as information, as consciousness in the realm of thought. So in the quantum, anything is possible. And it's no different than looking in a dressing room where there's mirrors this way and mirrors this way, and you see an infinite number of views. There's an infinite number of possible realities where one small thing is changed. Just one small thing. You shaved with your left hand today, that now you're in a different reality. You did your meditation, you connected, you come back, you just moved out of that dressing room, and now you're in a dressing room that looks just like that, but something's different. Your wife still looks the same, everybody looks the same, but all of a sudden, here's that phone call, here's that email, here's that opportunity. Now I'm in a whole new dimension, right? So in that quantum realm then, because it's non-local, we have to actually create not with our bodies. We have to dissociate from our bodies. We can't enter the quantum field as a somebody. We have to enter as a nobody. So teaching people how to pass through the eye of the needle is that moment they become nobody, no one, no thing, nowhere, no time. That's the moment they're pure consciousness. Now, teaching people how to create from the field instead of from matter has taken me many, many years. Yeah. But now people that are doing it are seeing those kind of instantaneous changes taking place, because when they begin to change their energy, and all potentials in the quantum field exist as electromagnetic potentials, and thoughts are the electrical charge and feelings are the magnetic charge, and how you think and how you feel is broadcasting information on a daily basis. So when a person changes their thoughts and feelings and they're creating from the field, when there's a vibrational match between their energy and that potential in the quantum field, and they're creating connected to the source, and that source energy is actually connecting everything material, they no longer have to go anywhere and get it. In fact, now, they're actually going to collapse time and space, or the experience is going to be drawn to them. Now they're the magnet. That's when they start drawing experiences to them. Now they're not going anywhere to get them. Now they're coming to them. That's when it gets fun. I think that when people say that they want a new job, or they want a new relationship, or they want to be healthy, they're actually waiting for their health to improve to feel gratitude.
Right.
They're waiting for their new relationship to feel joy and gratitude and thankfulness. They're waiting for the new career to happen. And once it happens, then they celebrate and feel gratitude. Well, if you believe that your thoughts and feelings produce an effect in your life, and you're living in the lack every single day waiting for it to happen, you're separate from the experience, right? So if you think about the emotional signature of gratitude, when you are receiving something that you like, that's pleasurable, you've just gotten or received something that is pleasurable. Something just happened to you, or something's happening to you that you like, you say thank you, you feel gratitude. So the emotional signature of gratitude is that something has already happened. And it is the absolute perfect state of receiving. It is the absolute state of receivership. So here's an example. A person gets a diagnosis. The diagnosis is something like cancer. The first moment they hear that word, they feel fear. They feel a change in their internal state, and they pay attention to what the doctor says. They take a snapshot, and they create that memory. They remember the moment the doctor said that. So now they're in fear, they're scared, and they're going to think positively. Or they'll say, I'm going to beat this thing. Well, if they're feeling fear, they can only accept, believe, and surrender to the thoughts equal to their emotional state. That fear thoughts will be the only ones that will make it in there. Now, if the person changes fear to gratitude, as an example, and they really start training their heart, we can measure when a person feels gratitude, what happens to their heart. Their heart gets regulated, it starts beating more coherently, it starts increasing energy to the brain, it starts creating an ambient field around the body. This is when your heart starts working for you. That when a person starts feeling gratitude, then the emotional signature in the body is that something's happening to them, or something's just happened to them. So if you're in a state of gratitude, you're in a state of receiving, then the thoughts that you think will make it to the body and program the autonomic nervous system into a different destiny. So just in 4 days, we found that when people, 10 minutes a day, for 4 days, traded anger, frustration, fear, all those limited emotions for gratitude, that their immune system improved by 50%. They made immunoglobulins that made their body stronger. Now if a pharmaceutical company had a drug that could strengthen immunoglobulin A in your body, it would be on every television commercial during the news. And yet your nervous system's the greatest pharmacist there is. So then your body is objective. It's your unconscious mind. It doesn't know the difference between a real life experience that creates an emotion and the emotion that you're creating by thought alone. So if your body is feeling gratitude, it's believing that something's happening to you. So in the beginning you go, well, I'm going to try gratitude. And then you think, well, this feels really weird. Why would I give gratitude until it happens? Well, because that's how you've been hypnotized. You've been programmed that way. But what if you change it around? The moment you feel gratitude, your healing begins. The moment you feel grateful for your life is going to change. Now you're causing an effect. So we have to embrace the emotion before it happens. Now, why? Well, let's just say you just did a great meditation and your heart is blown wide open and you feel grateful for life. Or you're connected to the emotions of your new career, your new job, your new life. If you're feeling the feeling that your new life has already happened, you wouldn't be looking for it any longer. You would be feeling like it's already happened, so you wouldn't look and be separate from it. You would feel connected to it. And then if you lost it and you started feeling angry because of traffic, I'd say, oh my God, you're back to the unconscious program again of allowing something outside of you to control your feelings and thoughts. You're back to that victimization program. So then when you start playing this game and you catch yourself and you self-correct and you get back into gratitude and feeling it, then your body is no longer preoccupied of when it's going to happen or where it's going to happen. If you feel it, it feels like it's already happened. So that's the moment you're no longer separate from it. That's the moment you start drawing or magnetizing experiences to you. This is the fun part about life. I mean, most people are expecting the worst thing to happen to them. They're bracing themselves for whatever it is around the corner that's going to go wrong, because in survival, if you prepare for the worst, you're going to survive, right? But if we're creating something new and unknown, creating a new thing in your life, it can't come in a way that you can predict or expect, because if you can predict it or expect it, it's the known. So then the moment you start trying to figure out how it's going to happen or when it's going to happen, you got in the way. The universe just backs off and says, oh, hey, Sean wants to do it, go ahead. But when you are open to being astonished and surprised, and it comes in a way that you haven't expected, you wake up. You kind of wake up from the dream and you go, oh my God, it happened. And then you will look back at your entire past and you will want to change one thing in your past. We see this all the time because it brought you to the present moment. That's the moment the past no longer exists. So the surprise, the brain learns by mistakes and surprises. Which would you like a few of? How about some surprises? So when it comes in a way that's just like out of nowhere, that you haven't thought of, and it's your creation, and you're surprised, you're not unconscious any longer. You're more conscious, you're more awake, you're awakened, and you're starting to believe, oh my God, I'm the creator of my life. I'm not the victim of my life. I actually did that. And now you take your foot off the gas and you trust a little bit more that things are going to organize in a way that's right for you. That's a divine aspect in us starting to happen instead of that animal aspect. And so we have to lay down the very thing we used our whole life to get what we want for something greater to occur. And that is the greatest habit we have to break, because we got to stay out of the way. Well, here's the deal. It's a habit. If you're creating matter to matter and you're living in stress and survival, the chemicals of stress actually heighten your senses and we become materialists. So then when we're matter trying to change matter, we're always trying to force the outcome. We're trying to control the outcome. We're trying to predict the outcome. We're in the way. That's because you're experiencing separation. So you try harder, you fight for it, you compete, you manipulate. You do everything you can because you got limited resources, matter to matter. So then when you create from the field instead of from matter, and you feel connected to your vision, and you understand that when your heart is open, your heart is actually drawing the experience to you. Now think about this. If you understood that on a gut level, where would you rush to? There'd be no place to rush to. You would never leave the present moment. You would just tune in and draw things to you. That's a much healthier way to live, right? So we force outcomes and we control outcomes because we're in the program of thinking that we're separate. But if you're feeling like your dream has already happened, then you wouldn't be forcing anything. You'd be relaxed in the present moment because the emotion of your future keeps you in the present moment. And so, yeah, it's not something you do in one swing. You got to practice a lot. You got to stay conscious. It's trial and error. But I tell you what, it's always worth the effort, because when it finally happens, you don't even care that it happened any longer because you're so happy with yourself that you're no longer controlling. And the moment you just let go is the moment it always shows up. And that's the surprise, like, wow, I did it, or here it is. And then that energy, that surprise or the synchronicity helps us with the next creation. We can use that energy. And wow, I'm thrilled, I'm juiced, I'm in awe, I'm in love, I'm inspired, I'm grateful. Hey, sit down to create the next day, it's a little easier. And wow, there's even more miracles happen. Oh, well, let's keep it going. Who wants to stop that, right? That's when it gets kind of fun. So the synchronicities and surprises, that is the unknown. But the unknown isn't going to be something scary like we're used to. It's going to be something thrilling. It's really ecstatic, something that's going to wake us up. That's what we want.